Mogul Motivation, empowering and inspiring entrepreneurs and dream chasers worldwide, 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media. And I am your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mogul Motivation. Welcome back. I'm happy that you are here. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is for the aspiring entrepreneur trying to get over that hump and make things happen. This podcast is for anybody with a dream that wants to go forward and accomplish that dream. Now, I've been very vocal on this podcast on many previous episodes about my lack of confidence and how that lack of confidence stifled my growth. And despite that, I do believe everything happens for a reason, and I was able to get past those hurdles and I got to where I am now. But I just want to talk about that journey and that lack of confidence, right? When I started my business 2011, those early 2010s years, my lack of confidence was primarily due to my lack of experience. Right. So the fact that I was still young in the game, the fact that I didn't really have a long creative entrepreneurial resume, that is what caused my lack of confidence in those years. My lack of confidence was never because of my lack of faith in my abilities. Right. I'm fresh out of college. I had all the confidence in the world of what I could do. I just needed a chance. And because I never got the chance that I was looking for as time went on, my lack of confidence exploded even more so, and it became like a dark cloud over my head, right? So I didn't have many resources. I didn't have many notches on my resume. I didn't have many clients. I didn't have many of anything, but I had all the confidence in the world in what I could do, but I just didn't have anybody to show it to. I didn't have anybody to give me a chance. That's what created my lack of confidence then. Now, fast forward years later, my client list has grown. I have more experience, all of this. For some strange reason, life is funny like this. My lack of confidence went from, because of my lack of experience, to the lack of belief and faith in myself. Because I didn't have as much money as I felt I should have in the bank account. Because I didn't have the material things that I felt I should have at this point. So even though I had the experience now, I didn't have the material possessions. I didn't have the money that I thought I should have. So therefore, the lack of confidence stemmed from my lack of faith in my own abilities. It was an inverted type of situation. Because it started off with I had all the confidence in the world in myself, but I didn't have any experience. That was my lack of confidence. Then it went to I had all this experience. I had the resume, but I didn't have the material possessions, so therefore I didn't have the confidence and the faith in myself and my abilities. It's a weird inverted conundrum that creatives go through, that anybody goes through when you are building a business, when you are trying to accomplish any goal in your life. So how do you go from being inverted to being upright? You go from being inverted to being upright by looking at the facts. And the facts is simply this. I have built this business from virtually nothing. I have built up resources. I have a long client list now. In fact, all of my business is strictly from referrals at this point. I have more material possessions. I have larger contracts coming into my bank account. I not only have one, not two, but 3 books, and I'm working on my next one. I have all of these things. I have 470 plus episodes on this podcast. I have 100 plus episodes on sociology. I have all of these things that I possess and I created and I built up now in 2024 that I did not have in 2011. So because I have all of these things, I have to shift my perspective and look at all the wins that I do have and stop looking at the things that I do not have, because the things I do not have, I didn't have back then either. But the things I do have, I did not have back then. So therefore, I have come a long way. That's how you go from being inverted to being upright. You look at the facts, and the facts is you do have some things that you didn't have when you started. You do have accomplishments that you didn't have when you started. You do have material possessions that you didn't have when you started. That lack of confidence is all fake and is all a scheme from the enemy to distract and distort you from the reality. And the reality is you are moving the needle. The reality is you have moved forward. The reality is you are in a better place today than you were yesterday. The lack of confidence is all a smokescreen. It's fake because if it's going to be the lack of experience today, it's going to be the lack of material resources tomorrow. If it's not going to be the lack of material resources tomorrow, it's going to be you're comparing yourself to what somebody else has. The lack of confidence is all going to be fake. How about you go from being inverted to being right up and focus on the facts in your life, in your business, in your career? And the facts is you have things that you didn't have when you started. You have notches on your resume that you didn't have when you started. And it's such a beautiful fact that you continue to go forward despite the lack of resources, despite the lack of things on your resume, despite the lack of accomplishments. You still went forward with that teeny ounce of confidence that you still held on to, and that brought you through. So look at the facts in your life, your personal life, your business. Another fact is I've been trying to run a 5K in 20 minutes. I've been after this goal for years. I still haven't hit it yet. And I've been on a running plan for the previous 10 weeks. And I'm not where I think I should be. But the reality is when I look at my numbers, they are just as consistent when I was at the peak of my running a couple years ago. They are just as consistent, and I'm actually more consistent now than I was then, despite the fact that the weather is changing here in Chicago. I am getting closer to that 20-minute 5K. The fact is, although I'm not there yet, the fact is my legs are getting stronger. My breathing is getting better. My running technique is improving. I am getting closer to that goal than I did years ago when I was inconsistent and I was just running every now and then. Look at the facts in your life, no matter what it is. Don't allow that lack of confidence, that lack of faith, that inverted belief in yourself and your abilities to distort the reality, which is you are moving forward. You are getting closer. You are getting better. So everything that you desire, whether it's financial, whether it's personal, whether it's emotional, spiritual, mental, it doesn't matter what it may be. Look at things from a right side up perspective. And you look at the facts in your life. You look at the things that you have accomplished, the things that you have checked off on your list, the things that you have moved past. Because when you keep score that way, you tend to appreciate it more. You can't look at all the shots that you missed that you wish you would have. You have to look at the points that are on the scoreboard, because those are the points that actually mattered. And when you look at the points that are on the scoreboard, your confidence will rise in your resources, in your experience, in your abilities, and in everything that you are doing. So that's my message today, everybody. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. That inverted belief system does not benefit you. You don't have confidence because you don't have the experience. You don't have confidence because you don't have the material possessions. You don't have confidence because you don't have this or that. Then that's going to morph until you don't have confidence because of that or this. That inverted belief system does not benefit you. It did not benefit me, but glory to God, I got through it. And you will get through it too, as long as you continue to look at things from a right side up perspective. That is the opposite of inverted. That is better than inverted. That is actually better for your health and is better for your performance. So if this podcast has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, ask for two things as always. Number one, please leave a 5-star review. And number two, pass it on to a friend who may benefit from it as well. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you next week.